to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE. My next guest is an internationally renowned speaker, coach, and creator of The Bigger Game. His life mission is to help people design and live a life they can be proud of. Welcome to the show, Dr. Rick Tamlyn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Cool. There you go. First of all, I love your opening video and I love the name. How many of us relate to Stuck in Our Mind? I mean, come on.
Every single one of us.
Every
single one of us is stuck there.
This is the thing, right? Oh my God. Anyway, well, bless you for opening up the can of worms called our minds.
So Doctor, what inspired you to create The Bigger Game, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it's a philosophy, it's a book, it's a workshop, it's a talk, and maybe someday it'll be a movie. So it will, you know how a philosophy can become a thing. So I've been very proud of this concept finding many different ways to express itself in the world, right? So here's the bottom line. I've been in the personal growth life coaching space now for 38 years. And I will really shorthand the story. A friend of mine who was in the business as well many, many years ago, we started to collaborate and converse around what was having our coaching clients. What was the difference? What was the differentiator between coaching clients who were more successful than others? You know, the life they wanted, the dreams they wanted, the careers they wanted, all the wanting, right? All the hunger. And we came up with this very simple idea, and it's not going to be rocket science, everybody. And, you know, Will, is it Will, right? Will, I want to be wise.
Yeah, either one. It's fine.
This very simple concept that the people who were up to something bigger than they knew how to create were the happiest people. And, you know, game was there's a word. Let's not have it be a bigger goal. You know, let's have it be a bigger game. And so that also implied a level of play and a way to think about life is just a game. And I want to be very careful how I say that. There's horrible things that happen and there's losses. But if you can kind of get like wider and meta view your life and look at it as just a big, gigantic field of opportunity on the field of opportunity, and we're making it up as we go. Another one of my favorite phrases is we get to make it up as we go. That's the impetus for the philosophy. And then it turned itself into a model. It became a game board, like a tic-tac-toe board. And then it became a workshop. And then it became a leadership development program, which I did inside Fortune 100 companies, still deliver this as a team building workshop. And there's 9 elements to quote unquote playing a bigger game. I won't go through them all right now, but there's the 9 right there, right? And it's pretty straightforward to you using your language here, Will, is that it helps me get over myself and get on with the impact I want to have with my life. And my orientation towards helping people have amazing lives is think about the impact you want to have with your life rather than just the income and all the other standard stuff. So there's the high level answer to that. I use it with my clients one-on-one. I use it with my leadership people. I use it as a workshop. I'm doing a class for it tomorrow in the world as a freebie into my community. Because I think, again, when you get to the end of your life, we all know this concept. You look back, or people talk about, that's the impact I had with my life. People never go, you know, wow, look at how much money they made. Like who gives it, right? That's not what we're looking at when we end our life. So this is sort of, let's advance that conversation now. You know, I think that's the coaching industry in a nutshell. What am I focusing on? Because we all know metaphysically and quantum physically, what we focus on expands. Right? You know, you think about fear, you can find things to be scared of in a minute. When you think about possibility, you can find possibility. So I'm preaching to the choir because, you know, here we are in the same business. But I think people still need to be reminded of, like, do you know that you're in charge of this thing called your life?
Oh, if people had the answers to it, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Absolutely. We wouldn't have podcasts. We wouldn't have books. We wouldn't have, so it's sort of the plight of the human condition that
Yeah,
I think keeps you and I engaged in the conversation.
yeah.
Right.
Can you share that pivotal moment in your life that
Sure.
led you to pursue coaching and leadership development?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's probably a couple things, but I'll pick the one that's the hardest to admit. The one that's like, oh God, I really want the world to know this, but I'm just gonna do it. Right. So I'm a gay man, gay white guy, right? And I survived AIDS in New York City. Okay. I don't have AIDS, but I mean that was a really
Okay,
dark
yeah,
time, right?
yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
dark
I'm
time.
a New York City kid, so I
Yeah.
know.
So right? I mean, but this is kind of a weird connect the dot, but half the world thinks I shouldn't be on the planet. Right or wrong, it's a moral conversation. I'm not here to change anybody's moral viewpoint.
Mhm.
But that awareness of coming out and to be with that much judgment, because I won't go into the details, but it didn't go so well with the family in the beginning. It didn't go well with my Christian upbringing. I mean, this was the 70s. Okay,
Mhm.
let's all put it into context, right? But that personal moment of like, am I going to be fully out in myself in the world, or am I going to retreat and sort of live a, dare I say, sort of closeted, standard, get through, not authentic life? We've all heard that
Yeah.
word. And that authentic word was like, no, and I moved to California. I did the classic gay man thing, moved to California, find my way, find my work, find my thing. And I bumped into somebody who said, you have a story to tell. Um, there's this thing called coaching. I didn't even know what it was. And I went to this workshop, and it was basically like, have a conversation with another human being about living a more authentic real life. Huh. Like, oh, I get it. I kind of went through that. Now, how can I help other people?
Mhm.
I happen to be at the ground level of an amazing organization. There were 5 of us in the beginning, called the Coaches Training Institute. And there were 3 amazing human beings, Laura Whitworth, Karen Kimsey House, and Henry Kimsey House. And these 3 people started the Coaches Training Institute. And I took their first workshop, and the rest was history. Because there was an experience and a conversation I'd had in that room about myself and life that I'd never experienced before. And I said, I want this for other people. Because as you know, Will, coaching is a conversation.
It is.
Your life is designed by the conversations you have.
Yeah.
Right. And that coaching conversation over time starts to generate my life. That's why we talk to a coach once or twice or 4 times a month, because I need a conversation to keep me on track with the life I want. So there's the bottom line, I guess, sort of ish.
so
Bottom
so
lining is not my best suit.
so how do you
Yeah.
define a great life, and what
Yeah.
steps can people take to start
Yeah.
creating their great life today?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, one of the things I was trained in, and I know your audience probably gets this, and you've probably heard this, but when we discover what matters, i.e., our values and our value system, like I have a value called creativity,
Yeah.
right? It has to happen. Like I'm writing a second book, I'm working on a movie, I'm going to take a painting class, I'm taking improv. Like my creativity needs a home.
Hmm.
And that's a value that I honor called creativity. So when you link, when you think about a fulfilling life, and I want to make a distinction, not just a happy life. Happy sort of like, oh, it's all joy filled all the time. Let's get real. We bounce between mood swings and it's amazing. And then I have a bad day and then I have a great day. And then I mean, we all know this, right? It's a wild ride of a roller coaster. But if we can kind of feel the true north of what are my values and what matters to me as best I can day to day, and have experiences that align with those values as best I can day to day, then I mostly go to bed like that was a well-used day. Now, the other
Hmm.
thing I want to bring in is, bigger game is a philosophy of like, I actually had an intention to make a difference today.
Yeah.
It's ironic. I know you're live right now, but today's January 7th. Not, I don't want to get political, but I just want to underline how our country right now is honoring Jimmy Carter's death.
Mhm.
100 years, first of all, like, oh my God. Talk about wanting to live a long life. Here's what I make up. The man was committed to making a difference until his final breath.
Yes.
That's what kept him alive. I mean, he's literally building homes. We know the story, right? He's building
Yeah.
homes one hammer at a time, one nail at a time. He's trying to have world peace. I mean, this guy lived what I call a committed life to
Absolutely.
make a
Yeah.
difference, right? Rather than just survive. And oh my gosh, you want to live a long life? Right. Now, that's not for everybody. I live in an area in the country that's lots of retired people, and they shop and they play pickleball, and no judgment of that. But there's not a lot to make a difference there. There's just and I am not here to tell people that's not the way you should live, right? But I
Yeah.
know I'm one of those people, and I think you're one of those people. That's why we do podcasts. That's why we write
Mhm.
books. That's why we're doing
No,
this work.
we're not here to tell people how to live. But
No.
we're here to give them examples of way they can travel
Yeah.
and find their own path. Because
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
I didn't know my purpose in life. I
Right.
was 40 something years old, didn't know I had a good paying job,
Yeah.
um, but I wasn't fulfilled.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I have a great wife. I have a
Mm.
great family, but I didn't
Yeah.
have that purpose.
Yeah. That
And
personal
so,
fulfillment,
yeah,
right?
and so when I discovered, for me, podcasting
Yeah.
and discovered that I had a voice
Yep.
and I had something that I was able to, that who knew I was going to be this good
Yeah.
or do what I was doing, and it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
I've found what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping people. I'm supposed to be making an impact,
Yeah.
and by doing the podcast, that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving a legacy for
You
my
are absolutely
kids,
right.
because now I'm making an impact. I'm touching people's lives. It could be one person, two people, three people, doesn't
Yeah.
matter
Doesn't
to me.
matter. Doesn't matter.
The fact that I'm impacting
Yeah.
people's lives, and who knows who those people are going to go impact, it's a ripple effect. And
Absolutely.
I'm always, whenever I say that, it's, to me, it's, I'm not here for fame and wealth. I'm here to make an impact. I'm here to touch people's lives and let them know that they're not alone. There's other people out here who have amazing stories, who have gone through struggles, who are who have just been down and out and been able to turn
Yep.
their life around,
Yep.
and so I'm a great example. I've suffered major loss in my life, and
Mhm.
I could have used that as an excuse and stood down in the trenches and given up on life, but that's not
Mm-mm.
what was
Mm.
inside of me. There was much more to this journey, and like I said, when I discovered podcasts, it was just like, here we go. All right, this is what
Yep.
I'm supposed to be
Yep.
doing.
Well, one of the things it reminds me of a great three-phrase philosophy that I think you've probably heard, but you're right now speaking something that I call people can live one of three ways in their life. Life happens to me, sort of the
Mhm.
victim model, right? Then
Yeah,
this happened to me, and I was born a gay man, and then the government turned against me, and right, oh my, right, and that's a spiral, like, oh right, the
yeah.
world's against me, kind of thing. To me is the language, or life happens for me.
Mhm.
Life happens for me. It's realized, oh, okay, I was born into the world in this particular body, in this particular mind, in this particular family. It's a perspective shift, right? And the final one, which is the one you're doing and I'm doing, is life happens through you.
Yeah,
And you have to do something with the story
yeah.
and put it into the world. And the beautiful thing now, and here you are using it's the technology to get it into the world. Oh my God.
Oh,
Right? It's
it
remarkable,
even in the last 4 years, 5 years
right?
since the
COVID, right?
pandemic, it's been amazing because now my reach is worldwide.
Yes, of course it is.
I have people listening to
Yep,
me in other countries, in Taiwan and
I
Australia
know. Isn't it
and
remarkable?
India. Oh, it's amazing. Some of
So
the people,
grateful,
some of
so
the people,
grateful.
some of the people I've been able to interview. I've
Yep.
interviewed people from all over the world,
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic.
to be able to see how they live and how they experience life is like, okay,
Yep.
yes, we might come from different backgrounds, but
But
at the core of it all, we
that's
want the same thing.
we want the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. And there's a way in which, again, I know I started before you pushed play. I want everybody to hear it. Like, congratulations to following that urge to create this podcast. You probably didn't know how to do it. Probably didn't know the technology, what microphone to buy, what button to push, but none of that stopped you.
Well, at first it did.
Of course. I
That's
know.
why I named it. That's why I named it Stuck in My Mind, because
You're right.
prior to I had purchased equipment a year before I actually launched my podcast,
Yeah, I understand.
and I was just making up excuses.
Yes, of course.
I was afraid of failing,
Yeah.
and what I didn't realize was I was already failing because I wasn't
Yeah.
attempting. I wasn't giving it
Yeah.
a shot.
Wasn't even trying,
Yeah,
right?
how was I supposed to know that if I was going to succeed or fail if
Yep.
I wasn't even trying?
Yep.
And so when I finally decided to press record and release it, this big weight was lifted off of me. I was like, okay,
I know, right?
I can do this.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And
That's creativity
yeah.
finally being made real.
Hmm.
And it feels so, it's like baking a cake. It's like, oh, look at that. Right. I mean, it's that simple. I heard something today that I loved that I think you'll relate to is the antidote to anxiety is creativity. Is you cannot experience anxiety and creativity at the same time. When I'm baking a dinner or making a dinner for dear friends, I am not anxious. I'm anxious when they're eating it because I hope they like it.
I enjoy it, yeah.
Right. But when I'm in the actual act of creating, I'm not anxious.
And cooking is one of my favorite things. I really enjoy cooking, and it's something like I take real joy in learning new recipes,
Right.
and
That's
seeing my wife's face when she's like, "Wow, where did you learn this at?" I'm like, "Yo, listen, I got my ways," and so
yeah. No, that's great.
it's a great feeling from within when I do cook something that. And then lately she's so proud because she's been working on helping us eat much more healthier,
Yes, of course.
and
There's that.
finding ways to enjoy
Yep.
these healthy foods, and making it so that, okay, because I've never eaten cottage cheese ever. And recently I've tried it, and
I
she
know I
made
get
she made this kind of like this dessert with the cottage cheese, and
it. Yeah.
I ate it, and it was pretty good. It was really good, and I was like, okay, I guess I can eat that cottage cheese.
I know, right?
But yeah, but it's those moments like when you experience that, it's like, okay, you have to take that leap. You have to take that that
Well,
jump and be like, you know what?
yeah.
Try this.
Well, exactly. To your point, we so make up, well, I don't like cottage cheese because, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute. The cottage cheese, and I'm using this as a metaphor, it can be turned into a different form.
Mhm.
And oh, now I like the cottage cheese. Like, I mean, is that not a metaphor for life? It's like, oh my God, life isn't like, oh, wait a minute, let me change the form of the way I look at life.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, how I look at life is how I experience life. Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
How I look at the cottage cheese is how I experience the cottage cheese. I mean, it's sort of weird to say, but you get the point,
Yeah.
right?
So how do you encourage people
Yeah.
to step out of their comfort zones when fear is holding them back? Because I
Yeah.
know for me that was
Yeah.
one of my issues.
Yeah. I know it's so great you asked that question too. I was just chatting with a client about that this morning. I create a mastermind. I have about 30 people in a mastermind group that we help them get their work in the world and write books and create podcasts and all this kind of stuff that you're doing. We were chatting about that. I just think fear, by the way, it's a part of the deal, right? It's just a part of the deal. And it's a little simplistic to say this, but I think, and it's a challenging topic right now because I think we're afraid of being dismissed and canceled.
Mm.
And we all know we're in this really interesting phase of I put something into the world. I mean, right now, you and I are chatting, we're
Mhm.
live. The world is either going to go, this is cool, or they're idiots.
Yeah.
And you have to motor through that. Now, I come out of the entertainment industry. That industry is one gigantic judgment, right? The movie you made was great. The movie you made sucked. And we all know we sit at home and watch television. Let me connect the dot to this. We sit at home and judge television and movies like this.
Yeah.
Right. And we tell each other that was amazing. That sucked. That actor's amazing. That one's an idiot. Right. We just do it. And so I think because we're on the judgmental side of it a lot, therefore, I don't want to put myself out there because of the volume of judgment that I bring to the table. I certainly don't want to be up for that on the receiving side.
Yeah.
I am not willing to receive that. But the people who push through are the ones that make it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, here we are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's really, there's a lot of dimensions to this, but the psychology side of this for me is the fear of judgment, which ultimately is I'm going to be, put out to pasture.
Mm.
Right. I mean, I'm even going through this phase. I just had a birthday yesterday. I'm 66. I had this moment of like, we know where the world is, right? Okay, old white guy. Okay, here we go. Am I even relevant? Does anybody care what I'm writing a book? Does anybody care anymore? I just thought I got to write the book. Rather than listen to all the voices, because there's a million voices coming at us. And again, I learned this as a gay man. I was burning in hell in 1980. You are the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And the government turned against me. My religion turned against me. Everybody turned against us. We've all had these moments, by the way. It's not like it's unique.
Yeah.
We can all find our place where the world said you shouldn't be the way you are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? And
Definitely.
we have to motor through that. And that's why we have a coach and go, okay, wait a minute. I have a mission. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission.
So what's a common misconception people have about living a life of purpose?
That it's really hard and it's going to take a lot of work. And I just chatted with a client this morning. She was terrified of the success she was having. She's like, oh my God, what if I can't keep this going? And again, I could feel related to the acting industry. Oh my God, I'm only as good as my last movie. So this next one better be amazing. So the fear of the keeping it going, I think is and it either will or it won't. But that's sort of an unjustified fear. Like it's going to take a lot of work and, oh my God, it's going to take my life over. That's the other one. This is going to take over my life. I won't have choice anymore. I won't be able to take a day off if I become Oprah. Oh my God, what will happen? It's like,
for me, it was, like I said, it took a while for me to really start my podcast because of fear.
Of course.
Because I was afraid of what people would think about me, or what people would say, like, "Oh, what the hell do you know about whatever the topic was," or who I'm, or even
you? Right.
the sound of my voice, and like,
right,
who would
exactly.
want to listen to me?
How we look, what we sound like.
So yeah, it definitely was a struggle for me.
Yeah.
So
here you are. I mean, again, I just want to say, here you are. How many platforms are we going to today? Like 7. You rattled off 7 platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and I've launched an internet radio station. Me and my nephew self-published his book. We've done things that we didn't think we could do, because from where we come from where we were raised, it was go to school, get a job, and
survive.
But we've done more. We've done more stuff than we thought we would ever have. Like I didn't know I would have a media company. And build the platforms that I'm building, and build the relationships that I've made, and the connections it took me making myself uncomfortable. because I could have
Yeah.
easily been like,
Yep.
oh, I got a good job. I'm good where I'm
Yeah.
at.
Just right. Just
But
sort of.
yeah, and just stay. But I didn't want at the end of the day, at the end of it all, to be like, man, I should have done this. I
Hmm.
should have gone into podcasting. I should have launched the radio. I should have done the. I didn't want any of that.
Yeah.
I
Well, the
wanted to
good.
be like, I wanted to be like, okay,
Yep.
I tried it. If it hit, that's wonderful. If it
Yep.
doesn't, I attempted.
Yep.
I can't say I didn't
Yep.
try. So the fact that I just took that leap of
Yep.
faith and was like, you know what, let me just do it. One person to
Yep.
and of course it took time for me to grow the platform.
Of
It took
course.
took time for me
Of
to
course.
improve on the
Right.
quality of mic and
Yep.
video
Go to the
and
next
everything
level. Right.
else. Yeah, there's levels. There's levels to it. You
Of
start off
course.
with what you have,
With
and
what you
then
know. Right.
and which was little at the time. Didn't
Yep.
know much,
Yep.
and YouTube University helped me out a lot,
I
and
love that
then
YouTube University.
yeah,
Is that a
and
real
then
thing? No, is this
yeah,
like it's a metaphor?
no, yeah, well, yeah, it's a metaphor, but yeah, but a lot of people,
Yeah.
you can learn so much if
Yeah.
you, it
Yeah,
has,
I get it. You just look up it on
yeah,
YouTube how to do it. Right,
yeah,
right.
it's like it has a lot of information,
Yep.
and I didn't know I didn't know people who were doing it, so
Yeah.
I had to go to where was where it was
Yep.
accessible to me.
You know what's really inspiring about what you just said is you had an understanding either consciously or unconsciously that you wanted to avoid regret.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, and I don't know about you, but my family history, there's a lot of regret in my dad, especially. He had regret. He told me before he died, he said, do not, he gave me like a list of do not wait for, do not expect, like go for it.
Yeah.
Do not expect the world to, he actually said, do not expect the world to take care of you. It's not going to, it's not its job.
It's not.
It's
It's
not
not,
its
and that's
job.
no, it's not, and
Right.
it's that's one of my issues with some of this younger generation is, um, they expect the world to be handed to them,
Pretty quickly. I
and
know.
it's not like that. Reality will sink in
Yeah.
and come
Oh,
and sock you a good one, and then you'd be like,
I
"What?"
know. Like, oh man,
You're
look
like,
at
"What the
that.
hell was that?"
Yeah, I know.
And so it's been
Yeah.
it's just been
Okay. Yeah. I
yeah,
totally
it's
get
been
it.
life. Yeah, it's been life. I've been like the
Yeah.
just and now is when I've really started enjoying some of the stuff. Even now where I'm at, there's things that I started implementing to to
To
to
probably take
change.
it to the
Yeah,
next level.
to go to the next to go to the next level
Yeah.
and the things that you think that should have been done a while ago, but again, I'm human. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still getting to know who I am.
Of course.
And so little by little, little pieces here, little piece there, I've been to start building a
Yep.
better me.
Yep. Well, in my language, it's like don't mean to promote my own book, but you're playing a bigger game. And
Mhm.
that's the concept. On this game board, there's the word comfort zones. You got to leave them. You got to ask for help, allies. You got to take bold action,
Yeah.
right? You're just one of these people. And I don't know whether people are born with it or they find it with a good coach, but you're one of those people that's decided, I got to do something that grows me and challenges me.
Mhm.
Right. You just I don't again, there are people who are like, no, I don't need to do then there's other people like think like us who are like, okay, I gotta keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It was, and it's like you was talking about being creative
Yeah.
and everything. Honestly, prior to this, I didn't consider myself a creative person.
No, you
Like
are.
I played. No, I know. I
Yeah, I
played.
know.
Growing up. I mostly played sports,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that was my thing. And I kind of like, even when I started, I'm like, I'm not creative. I'm not I'm
Yeah.
not a writer. I'm not a. And then I started creating content, and
Yep.
I started realizing, like, okay, you got something. You are creative. This right here is an art form. What you're
Yep.
doing is creation,
You bet.
and so it's just it's just been a process where, of course, I've had self doubt.
Of
I've
course.
battled
Of
imposter
course.
syndrome,
Of
and
course.
all
All
these
this
other
stuff.
things. Yeah,
Yep.
and all this other stuff because of how I was, just human nature. Like, people telling you, "Oh, no, what are you doing? You don't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
This
what
is
are you
not.
doing?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can't. You're not supposed to be doing that. That's not your lane." And
Yep.
and
Do you get that that's mostly jealousy?
yeah,
It's my 99% of that is jealousy. Because they don't have the guts to do it, and so they're gonna try to, you know how it is. They wanna shut you down because I
yeah.
don't have the guts to do it, right? So,
So
yeah.
how has your own bigger game changed
Yeah.
over the course of your career and
Yeah.
personal life?
Yeah. Another great question. So I guess, you know, some of you've heard this term, I'm in my third act. I don't know if that's true, but probably the last third of my life, right? God willing, I live another 30 years. And I was a trainer. I mean, I still speak, I still train, I still coach. Um, but not unlike you, my husband and I have created this sort of production company. And we're helping other people do what we do. So it's now turned itself into sort of a train the trainer. You know, I'm training people in the bigger game workshop. So there's this I still get asked to speak at corporate gigs and things like that, but now I'm helping other people. So there's a bit of a legacy. Like, how do you keep the message alive once I'm gone? You know, and so we're looking into that as a business model. How do we keep the business going if I stop doing it? So we're kind of in that legacy space now. Like, what does it look like to pass this on? I'm not selling my company, but what does it look like to pass on this philosophy? Um, so it's changed in terms of the delivery mechanisms, right? And the other thing that changed it, as you know, is COVID. I traveled 200 to 300,000 miles a year on planes. I don't do that at all anymore. Like, I
Mm,
don't get on planes at all. I don't want to get on planes. I don't need to be on planes. I've seen the world. God bless. Um, Now it's Zoom calls. I mean, I will go somewhere if it's a big enough conference, but I don't need to fly on a plane and as much as I used to. So the whole game has changed because of COVID, right? Here we are. Thank you,
yeah,
Zoom. Like, oh my God, thank you, Zoom. I came around. Isn't it remarkable that Zoom was just kind of figuring itself out
yeah,
when COVID happened? Wasn't that
yeah,
fascinating?
yep.
That was like a universal, like God came in and said, "Here, I'm going to help with this." It's
And
really
now
interesting,
and
right?
now, there's so many different platforms now.
Yes.
This is I
Yes,
use
it's
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yeah, I know, me too.
And
Yep.
it's even StreamYard has evolved in
Yep.
the 2-3 years that I've been using it. With how
Yep.
I have a production studio right here.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know, in your house. It's
yeah,
unbelievable,
it's
right?
like in the palm of my hand. I have a
Yep.
production studio where I run my intro, I run my outro.
Yep.
I can edit the video
Yep.
on StreamYard. I can clip
Yep.
it. I can do all these different things
Yep.
from my home.
I know, from your home desk. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just incredible. And, you know, way back, let's honor some people along the way. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. These people started this. Right? They were like, "Okay, I'm gonna bring creativity to your home." I mean, Apple started I mean, I've only owned an
garage.
Apple, by the
Yeah,
way. I never owned a PC in my life because I was a graphic designer for 20 minutes of my life, and Apple was the graphic designer computer, right? That's the one you used. So they were already in the creativity space. So he brought it, let me bring creativity to your hand, to your home, and here we are. It's really quite, and I have to say, when people get like mad about it or overwhelmed by it, I go, do you get how grateful we should be about this remarkable technology we're in? Like, I
yeah,
know it can be used in different ways, but it's like, this is remarkable.
It is.
It's just remarkable. It's like magic, So it's like I always remind people, like, you got to get the opportunity this thing is bringing to us all, right? And here you are, right? You're doing a home studio. Here I am talking to you,
Yeah.
3,000 miles away, and it's like we're in the same room. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
So I'm always
And
grateful for this.
it's been, like I said, I've been able to interview people from all over the world.
Yeah, I know, right?
And
Yeah.
and just who I didn't know this was going to be like this.
I know. That's so great.
And it's
So
just
great.
like you were saying, the pandemic just changed it all around. It changed the dynamic, changed that dynamics of
Yep.
it all. And now here we go. Had
Yeah.
like had the pandemic not happened, had this conversation wouldn't be happening.
No, it
This
would not be happening. Yep.
podcast wouldn't have been
Yep.
created and everything. So things happen for a reason. Life happens for a reason, and so it was meant. This was my path. Like I
Yeah,
said, I
I
didn't
agree.
know what my purpose was.
Life happens for us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I thought life was happening against me.
Of course, like you thought life was happening to
Oh
you.
yeah, it was just
Yeah.
a little bit about I lost my wife, my first wife, at 31.
Yeah, that's what I read. I'm so sorry for
In
your
a car
loss.
accident, and then it was just one tragedy after another. I reunited with my dad after 25 years, only to go visit him
Oh,
for the
gosh.
first time. I get there Friday night, the weekend of Father's Day weekend. Passed away Saturday morning.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh.
I buried my brother and uncle 3 months apart in 2011. So it was like,
Yeah, you were like,
from 2008 to 2011.
yeah.
There was so much that there was a lot of people that were very important to me that I lost. My brother, who I reunited, who's from my father's side, who was a few months older than me, dies of a drug overdose. After getting to know him and reuniting with him, aunt that played a major role, who was actually the catalyst for my whole family moving from Puerto Rico to the United States.
Wow.
She passes away.
Right.
And so it was just like I was angry. I felt God was attacking me, and I was taking it personal. And so when one day it was just,
you have to make a shift. You
yeah,
have
in my head it just went. It's in my head. I'm hearing, this is not your purpose. It's not. Life is not happening to you. It's just life is happening.
Correct.
And so
what am I gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Right.
And so I sought the help that I needed. I started going to therapy. I started changing my life around, and I fell in love again. Met my wife that I'm with now, and
well done.
Have been able to turn my life around, and I'm no longer angry. It kind of, like, last year was a rough year because we buried my mom. She passed away at 84, and so she lived a long life. But it was still a struggle to see her go through what she went through, because dementia and Alzheimer's was just had just eaten her away.
Horrible way to go. Yeah.
And so last year was kind of rough, but I still had an amazing support system of people who were by my side, and even though I was struggling with a lot of things, they still were like, "Don't worry about it. We got you. We'll help you."
Yep.
Yeah, and so, of course, now this year has started off in a much more positive light, and much more with me discovering that there's certain things that I need to work on. I've decided that I need to build my relationship with God. Like, need to improve on the relationship I have with God. And does that mean that I'm going to be going to church every Sunday? No, because that's not how. I'm not a religious person.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's religion. That's not God.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be God, but it's not always God.
yeah. I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious
Correct.
person. I don't
I
follow
understand.
a set religion.
The same.
But it was something that I just felt I needed to improve my relationship with God.
Yeah, there you go.
However it is, however I decide to do it, I just felt that I needed to improve on that relationship.
Mm, mm.
So can you walk us through the 99-minute framework for your book, Play Your Bigger
Sure.
Game?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, yeah, the book is it's a Hay House published book called Play Your Bigger Game: 9 Minutes to Learn, a Lifetime to Live. So I'll walk you through this very simple model. And before I walk you through it from a workshop perspective, this game board is a gigantic tic-tac-toe board on the floor. Okay. I've done it for 50 people. I've done it for 5,000 people in a gigantic hotel room. So first of all, imagine it's like on the floor like this. Okay. So very simply, there's 9 concepts. You're all going to go, these all make sense. It takes 9 minutes to understand it. Applying it to your life, different conversation. But the concept, going to get it, right? Hunger, we've talked about it, Will. Hunger is the deep-seated asking yourself the existential question, what am I here for? What is this about? What am I really hungry to create with my life? And the concept to play within the hunger square is, imagine you can kind of turn it up and you can turn it down, like it's like a dial.
Yeah.
And many of us turn the dial down because we're afraid we're not going to be able to have it or get it or create it.
Yeah.
So I won't want very much. So I'll lower the hunger level so I can avoid this one emotion, disappointment. Most people will avoid disappointment more than any other thing. They'll be mad, they'll be sad, but I don't want to be disappointed, so I won't want very much for my life or with my life or in my life. So that's hunger. How hungry are we? Compelling purpose answers the bigger question, why am I here? It's the why question. What am I compelled by? Many people, it's their children. Many people, it's their family. Others, it's starting a company. Like Steve Jobs was compelled by starting a company. Doesn't matter what you're compelled by. You got to find what you're compelled by. Not just survive, but as we know, you've heard the term, thrive and grow, right? And then there's this very fancy word, which we love when we created this model, called gulp. It really is the moment of like, really? We're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade? We don't know how to do that. So it has this quality of bigger than I know how. That's what that means. Investment. What do I need to invest in to make this real? Will, you are here right now. You invested in equipment. You invested in learning. You invested in classes. You invested yourself and your life to make this impact with this one form of your production company called a podcast.
Yeah.
But usually investment is 2 parts, money and time. Right? So you got to invest in it. Allies, straightforward. You can't do it alone.
No.
Never, right? But here's the thing about the ally square. I'm also a fan of reminding people that when you have people in your life who you think you're crazy when you tell them what you're up to, that's an ally. Because some people are motivated by the I'll show you. The great example of this in my life was my brother was diagnosed with bone marrow cancer many, many years ago, given 3 months to live, go home and die. My mother, this little diminutive thing, got turned into this leader and said, not on my watch is my son dying. And she went off and researched 25 hospitals, found a hospital that did a remarkable new treatment they'd never done before. He's alive and well today because of that moment where, so the ally moment in that is the hospital saying, go home and die.
Yeah.
That motivated her. Of course, saved my son's life. That's the game.
Well, no parent wants to bury their child.
Exactly. So. It was sort of, her hunger was built right in, called, you just didn't have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Sustainability, very simple language, designing the game that it could go on without you. An example of that is Mothers Against Drunk Driving, an organization, global, to make sure people don't drive drunk. We don't know the names of the founders.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's a sustainable system.
Yeah.
Assess, a very simple square. How's it going? Am I having fun? Is this working? Is it having the impact I want to have? Bold action. Without bold action, it's just a nice conversation. And then
Absolutely.
and then comfort zones, which you spoke to. It's a term that's out there a lot. But I want to offer a different perspective on comfort zones. There's some that serve me, and there's some that do not.
Mm-hmm.
I have a comfort zone called working out every single day. That's a comfort zone. It serves me.
Yeah.
I have another comfort zone called worrying and being anxious. Doesn't serve me. So it's not a bad in this model, it's not bad. It's just an awareness of, does this serve me or not? And the game that I'm playing with my life. So there it is in 6 minutes. But the way to use this is I throw this in front of a client or a team and I go, okay, where are you on the game board? Well, I'm in a comfort zone called I'm bored. I need to find a compelling purpose. I don't have one. I need to take it. Like, people will choose where they are, because the concept to play with here is once you know where you are, then you know what to do next.
So what does
Yeah.
what does living bodily mean to you, and how can people apply this mindset to their daily lives?
What's the term you said? Living what?
Boldly. I'm sorry.
Boldly.
I don't know why I said that boldly.
Boldly. I know. No worries. Well,
Boldly.
every time I lead the workshop, I go, okay, when I talk about bold action, I said, what's the most important word, bold or action? People will pick. Bold is up to you. I don't know what bold is for you. But you are a great example. Here you are of, you decided, I'm going to put my voice into the world. That was a bold step.
Yeah.
I think. And it kind of takes me out of my comfort zone, right? Like, so, and again, I think the litmus test for this is to realize at the end of your life, you're going to look back and go, I went for it or I didn't. And so many people, my dad was this voice. He goes, I didn't go for it. I just made a living. I did not create an amazing life. And that was the era, by the way. He came home from World War II. It was classic. Come home from World War II, you buy a little house in New Jersey, you settle down, you get a job. My mom was a nurse. I mean, that was the world at the time. So it all made sense.
Yeah.
But the hunger in him, he looked at me at the end of his life and said, do not just fall into the rhythm of making a living. And I'll never forget that voice.
Yeah. So how is it that you help your clients uncover their life's compelling purpose?
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it was, I didn't know what my purpose was in life until I started podcasting.
Yep. Here's the game for me. You actually have to try lots of different things. See, people are waiting to find the right one. It's like basketball. You just have to keep throwing the shots, and then once in a while it goes in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, let's try a book. Oh, let's try a workshop. Oh, let's see. Oh, was that fun? And the other litmus test for me, is it mostly fun? Because if it's not fun, we won't stay with it. We just won't. Like, this is mostly fun for you. I know you have days where it's like, oh my God, the technology, my head's going to pop off. Right?
Yeah.
But most of the time it's like, oh, this is freaking fun.
Oh yeah. Like right now, time has flown by.
No, we're like 53 minutes into this, and it's like, whoosh.
Where has the time gone?
Where's the time has gone?
Yeah, where did all this time go? Like, we've just been having such a great conversation that it's just, you're like, okay, wow, like I didn't know.
Yeah, for me, that term is, I'm in the flow of creativity. When you're in the flow of creativity and wanting to make a difference, there's no time. It just goes by.
Yeah.
Right.
So what role does self-reflection play in creating a meaningful life?
Such a good question. Oh my God. I think the answer is everything. If we don't reflect on life, then it's just a big, I'm going to swear, like it's a big shit show of good luck.
You can swear. It's fine.
It's sort of like, what? How could you not? I mean, I have to be really honest. Like, people who don't reflect on life, I'm like, how do you go through the day?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I are reflectors. There's people who love to reflect on life, and there's people who are like, you know what? I'm just going to go to dinner. So I don't think everybody needs to. Oh, there's somebody saying hello, by the way. Hi, Mickey.
Oh yeah, that's Mickey Delaney. He's
Yeah.
always stopping by.
Yeah. Hey,
He's always showing love.
yeah.
I
Nice.
appreciate, and that's one of the reasons I like going live is so that
Yeah, I
people
get it.
just
People can comment. Yeah.
come in, and if they want to comment, they can comment. Um,
Yeah.
and for me, it's I save on editing. I
Yeah,
don't.
I totally get it. I
I don't,
understand.
I
That's a
don't,
really good choice.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
That
Otherwise,
was
you're
one of the best decisions I made was going live because once I release it, it's out there in the universe, and I don't have to. Hey, people either you like it or you don't, and so
yeah.
and like I'll edit
Yeah.
other people's podcasts because then they're
Yeah, I
paying me,
understand. I know. Now you're a production company, right?
yeah,
Right.
but
You're a
for me
producer,
to
right?
sit here and spend time on, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I rather just go live, and I enjoy the live aspect of it, and it was just the next step in my evolution as far as my
Makes
show
sense. Yeah,
because
it totally makes sense.
I started with audio,
Yeah.
strictly audio, and then I had a guest come on and question like, do you
Mhm.
do video? And
Yeah.
I was like, and again, then that's when I had excuses. I was like, I'm not ready.
Yeah, I know all this stuff, right?
I need better camera. And he's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah. So you do video? I'm like, no, no. And the third time that person asked me, I was like, I do
Okay.
video now. Yes,
Yeah,
I do
great.
video because I understood what he was trying to get at. He's like,
Yeah.
you're already using the platform.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And
Well, they've also proven, by the way, we wanna watch more than we wanna listen.
yeah,
I mean, we watch TV, we don't listen to TV,
yeah, this is true. This is true.
and, so they've proven we wanna watch people, and I think the other thing that I think is fascinating is, you've shared your story with me, and now I'm like, "Oh, this guy is this," your story is interesting.
Mm,
Not maybe to all of it, my story is who knows if it's that interesting, but people wanna hear the backstory of how they got to where they got,
yeah,
right? And so we're sharing our backstory. How did we get here? And you all know, by the way, there's no right strategy to this. There's a lot of creativity. Again, my antidote to getting it right is go. Go before you know is my
yeah.
favorite phrase.
So,
Yeah.
how do you stay motivated and inspired while helping others achieve their dreams?
I know, boy, you're asking all the good ones. Let's be honest. There are days when I'm not inspired. Okay, can we just be honest? There are
Yeah,
days when they're
yeah,
just not. Like
yeah.
there's like a shit show day. Like I'd rather not. And so I'm a fan of, first of all, if I have a job to do that day, like I have 30 clients. So, I've been on the phone today already 5 hours of Zoom calls. Okay. So the good thing that saves me half the time from my own anxiety is I have a job to do. Like here I am with you right now. I can't afford to be stuck right now with you. You know what I mean? Like you need me to I need to show up because there's humans hopefully
Yeah.
listening at some point. So I think the other thing that keeps me motivated is I have a job to do because I decided to have this job in the world. And you're one of those people. I have a job to do.
Yeah.
Whether people like my job or not, that's remains to be seen. But I have a job to do. And I think
Yeah.
that's a role decision. What I mean by that is we're leaders, we're difference makers, we're
Mhm.
bigger game players, whatever term, and that keeps me in the game, right? Because there are days, and this has just happened over the holidays, too many days where I don't have to show up, I start to devolve. I start to doubt, worry, but it's like, okay, thank God the holidays are over. I have a job to do now. I'm back.
Yeah.
I saw you on the calendar today and I was like, yay, I get to talk. So I
And
appreciate you.
that's one thing that I'm challenging myself
Yeah.
this year is to go out and
Yeah.
be on more
Be
podcasts.
on other podcasts, you bet.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's something that I've been on podcasts,
Yeah.
but have I been on the right? Been no, I haven't really put myself out there.
Yeah.
And the guest I had on yesterday was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
You
you
need
have a
to.
wonderful platform here, and
Yeah.
you're always
Yeah.
putting other people out there and letting them and
Yeah.
letting your audience meet them." she goes, now it's time for them to get to
I
meet
agree
you.
with her.
Yeah,
It's time
to
to
meet
flip
you.
it. Right.
Yeah, and you go out, and even
Yep.
if you do more solo episodes or go
Yep.
out there,
Yep.
just go out there and show people what you're made of. Show them
What
what you
you're doing.
have.
Yeah.
Show them what
Yeah.
you're capable of.
Yep.
And I was like, this
Yeah.
is true. This is so true.
Well, it's sort of like, do you want to be Oprah? I mean, Oprah's an interviewer. That's how she made a living.
Yeah,
Or do you want to be, the voice of something? You want to be, on the receiving side of Oprah's interview. Right now, you're the Oprah with me.
yeah.
Right. And then there's the, wait a minute, I want to be in other people's shows. Do you have a book? Have you done a book yet? You need to do a book.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on it. I helped my
Yeah.
nephew publish his book. We self-published his book, so
Okay.
I know how to publish a book.
There's a story in you, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah. No, I know how to publish a book, so I
Yeah,
can't. I
good.
will be publishing my story.
Yeah, good.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, it's a different. It's like I said, these past few years,
Yeah.
I've learned so much and grown so much, and things that I would have not
Mhm.
known. I would have never. If you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be in this position, I would have been like, nah.
No, of course. Exactly. Me too.
This
Like
is,
I
yeah,
that
it
I have a
wasn't even
book.
on my radar.
Right, exactly. Like I had a book that went into the world and did well. Like I would have been like, what? To your point.
Yeah.
I cannot help it. You can take it or not, Will, but I have an idea for a book title. It just came to me. Can I
Okay.
just say it for you?
Go ahead.
It's uh finding faith again.
Yeah, that's a good title.
Finding faith again. Because I think people have lost faith. They don't know what to trust. I don't know. It's because as you talk, I'm like, this you're finding your way back to God,
Mhm.
and there's this
Yeah,
story to
believe me,
tell.
there's a story to be told,
There's a story to be told,
yeah,
exactly.
and
You
it
know,
does have a lot to do with my faith
of course.
and losing it and
Yep.
regaining it
Yep.
and building it back up. So yeah,
Exactly.
there's a lot to be shared and told,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate the suggestion.
I
That's
think it's one of those. Well, I am not attached, but it's one of those book titles that I think people would relate to. I need to
yeah,
find my faith again. So let me read his story.
yeah.
So
That
anyway, just a
was
thought.
good.
So
But
all
this
right.
is like all right. Yeah, we're running out
I
of
know, like an
time.
hour. I don't know how long
Yeah.
your show's supposed to be, but oh my god.
Oh, we've way past the time. but,
Oh, sorry,
but no,
everybody.
no. But I love those are some of my favorite episodes. Is when the conversation is so good and we get it, like it just time flies. You
It's
don't
sort
even
of, yeah, I
recognize that.
appreciate it. Yeah.
But
So
what
yeah,
are what's one lesson from your
yeah,
journey that you wish everyone could learn?
yeah. I know it's so funny. I wish I'd said this. Um, by the way, I do need to go in a minute. I have a client waiting at the top of the hour. But anyway, the lesson I want to tell everybody. Uh, don't worry about what people think so much. Like really, don't. And I know that's hard to say to a 20 something or a 30 something because when I was in that era, that's all I worried about.
Yeah, it was what people thought of you. Yeah.
Exactly. It was but it's like, wow, how do I? And I think kids today are better. They're like, yeah, this is my deal. This is who I am.
Yeah.
The gay, straight. It's a pretty fluid world now. So we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But I still think it's like, don't over worry. Don't worry so much about what people think. Right. Right. So Mickey just says, I do not think Wise has a time limit.
No, Mickey, but I do try to keep it within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
I know you have to go, so you're gonna get the solo layout, plug away, let people know where they can find you, where they
Yeah.
can get the book.
So this is the name of the book. Go get it. Play Your Bigger Game. It's on Amazon. Rick Tamlyn's the name. Bigger Game is the game. If there's a way that
I've already put up the link is
yeah,
in
there's a
the
link.
description.
You
Yep.
get a free chapter if you put in there's a link to a free chapter, put in your email, you'll get the chapter 1 of the book. If you just want to put that into the put your name and email into the system, and you know how that works. Everybody would be honored to have the first chapter in your thinking and in your DNA of your life. So Thank you, sir, so much for this conversation.
Thank you. It's been great having
Yeah,
you. I know you have to rush. I
yeah,
appreciate you coming.
apologize.
I appreciate you for being a guest. Definitely.
Congrats to all the work you're
Oh,
doing, man.
thank you. I appreciate it. And when you write the next book, hit me
Yeah,
up.
there's another one
We'll
coming. Yeah, we'll be in
we-
touch.
yeah, I definitely got to have you back on because it was too short.
Yeah, no, there's like
We spoke an
87
hour,
other
but it's
topics.
too
Yeah.
short, right? But
Yeah,
thank you so much, Doc, for being a part, and I
you
appreciate
bet.
you. And you have a great
Thanks
rest of your
twice.
day.
Again, congratulations. And yay to finding your way back to quote unquote God or energy or whatever you want to call it. That's a
Yeah,
big deal. So well done.
thank you,
And
thank you.
all right, be well. Have a great rest of
You
your day.
too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
All right, everyone. That was another great episode. Time flies. Like I didn't even know we were already up to in the hour, but another great episode. I appreciate the doc for stopping by and then and sharing his story. It was sharing his knowledge and everything. It's time for shout outs. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady. Always appreciate everything you do for me and the family. Shout out to Mickey Delaney for coming through and showing love, man. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Continue to support, man. I love the fact that you're always stopping by and sharing and showing love, man. I greatly appreciate it. Big shout out to Dr. Rick Tamlyn for coming through and sharing his story. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless you. Be safe. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Share this with your friends. This it's just been an amazing journey, and 2025. I plan on doing some bigger and better things. But thank you all out there who support the show and support everything I do. I greatly do. I greatly appreciate everything. And yeah, you know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.